The Journey to Jigsaw tells the story of how development work undertaken by Bray Area Partnership Youth Mental Health Network, resourced by the Social Inclusion Community Activation Programme, or SICAP, had led to very real and positive outcomes for young people. The case study will chart the work of the Bray Area Partnership Youth Mental Health Network in developing a whole community approach to youth mental health in the Bray area and to bring a Jigsaw Youth Mental Health project to Bray. The case study will outline the role the Bray Area Partnership has played through SICAP in bringing local stakeholders together to formulate an interagency response to poor mental health amongst young people and to advocate for the development of a Jigsaw service in Bray.
The Youth Mental Health Network was initially established as a result of a health committee that Bray Area Partnership was involved in, was resourcing, which is looking at a broad range of health issues. However, what was coming forward was the need to look at youth mental health. We had run a mental health seminar back in 2010 with transition year students in local schools. And really from conversations that we were having with local schools at the time, there was a sense that the narrative needed to change a little bit around youth mental health, that we need to focus on some positive measures, things that would focus on coping skills and building resilience amongst young people.
One of the programs that has helped us with this whole project is the Social Inclusion Community Activation Program. And that program does many different jobs for us, but one of them is that allows us to lever in other funds to look and see, can we bring people together. SICAP has been crucial in allowing that to happen. Through SICAP, we can bring our experience and expertise from previous work that we've done in the past to a project like Jigsaw. And certainly in terms of the journey that we've had to Jigsaw, so we identified this maybe as an issue maybe many years ago, but the whole idea of maybe a Jigsaw service, I think we started working on seriously in 2012.
The key piece is around the Bray Area Partnership Youth Mental Health Network and how they brought people together who could see and recognise the need in the area. And that need brought a passion and it brought champions from that group. But it wouldn't have been possible to move it to this stage if we didn't have a structure like that supported through Bray Area Partnership and through the SICAP programme.
Having people at the table from the different groups, there was kind of key parts then to nurture that and make sure that grew. Because I suppose when we first started meeting and first started having conversations, it was coming in response to that need that young people were identifying. But then where do you go from there? So bringing people to the table is one piece. The other piece was making sure that you don't lose the community part then. So when you have the statutory bodies there, as important as they are, that you still hold on to the community piece. So that was important. And to do that, I suppose, was also the next important piece, hanging on to the youth voice and making sure you didn't lose that in bringing everyone together. And one direct way of doing that was invite a young person onto the youth mental health subgroup, which we did.
One of the most valuable things about being part of the Youth Mental Health Network was that it was in no way tokenistic. And I was there to be my authentic young person self. So when we were doing those quirky, crazy ideas and the research, and we weren't just out there deciding cool things, but we were doing trainings, we were being sent away if ideas were bad ideas and not going to work out or not budgeted properly, not thought through properly. We did the work to make them better, but we got to bring all of that energy to be part of then this network of people from around Bray who were adults doing stuff, and I was there as my authentic self, and I think that was really, really important, that it never felt like, oh yeah, we forgot about the young person, what do you think?
So then I was introduced to Grace and Dermot from Be Well, and immediately, because Grace was a past pupil, there was a connection. So we decided to invite Grace to the school. She spoke to some of our 6th class girls, and that had a huge impact because there's nothing like the power of peer pressure. She really was one of the original influencers, I think, because the girls really hung on every word she said, and for the first time they had an opportunity to have their voice heard and to speak in a non-threatening and secure environment about their feelings, their fears, their anxieties, and it was normalised for them. They realised, some of those key messages from Jigsaw. It's okay not to feel okay, and that everyone has mental health.
So it's really great to think that another service will be available, very accessible. Youth youth are engaged in it and have a stake in it, and that they will be able to get some supports quickly. So it will impact on us in that we will be able to get on with more easily working with the children and the young people who come to our service. They have very complex needs. They require multidisciplinary input. We need to get on with working with them and to know that children who don't have such difficulty extent of difficulty can access the service as well. So it'll help our referral pattern, and it will also highlight the importance of youth mental health being part of everybody's business. It, I think, will help destigmatise the whole issue of youth mental health difficulties and promote just a positive mental health culture in the town.
And I think the fact that I've been on the youth mental health group, I've had an opportunity to be part of the journey of bringing Jigsaw to Bray. We're really excited about it as a centre because we feel connected to it already. And sometimes our young people, like I said, feel very disconnected. And I've been talking about Jigsaw with them now all the time and broke the news to them, and it was all really exciting. Having that link for them specifically would be brilliant. It's kind of in some ways easier sometimes when kids are in school because they're used to being given things, they're used to being offered services. And this isn't a, school bad, youth reach good kind of a scenario. It's just to say that sometimes our students can feel a little bit left out of the things that mainstream kids get all the time.
If you look at the homepage on Jigsaw, they say, if you're having a hard time, look for support. And it's that line, if you're having a hard time. We want to be able to refer young people or see young people getting supports when they're having a hard time, not when they're hitting crisis stages. And that's really where we've been at, where young people present to us who life is tough and maybe they're worrying about their parents, they're worrying about something going on and their own mental health issues being affected. But up to now, the threshold is often so high, or the waiting list is so long, that we're actually waiting until the young person's in crisis. So I think the opportunity for us is that these young people presenting at this stage will be able to get services as an early intervention rather than waiting until things are really difficult for them.
Multi-agency involvement and stakeholder engagement is a vital part of this process. We have had a huge support from our local deputies in this regard as well, and it was very heartening to see how they were all willing to work together to bring something good to this community.
Then the Youth Mental Health Group came and made a presentation to the local authority, and through that connection, Wicklow guaranteed some funding towards Jigsaw, and that funding has rolled over until we've got to where we are now that Jigsaw has been announced. So I feel it's a great achievement for the county.
Funding through SICAP has been of vital importance because it allows the work to be undertaken at a local level and ultimately for us to be able to achieve this fantastic result for our community.
The challenge for the people who've been on the network is to say Jigsaw's here and we've worked a long time to get it, but it doesn't mean the work is over. And I think that we've put so much energy into Jigsaw, and it was always referenced that it wasn't just the only reason that the network met. There was always other things going on. I really hope the subgroup or the network as it is just kind of reinvigorates itself to go off and continue the important work alongside the work of Jigsaw and through the work of Jigsaw.
I'm so glad that we're capturing the story because yes, we can say about data and about the young people and about, little anecdotal parts of but when we were looking back over since 2012 to now, and the fact that in the kitchen earlier we're having a cup of tea with the same people that welcomed me to that committee in 2013, that's amazing. And that's real community for me. And the change happens in those conversations behind the work.
We have Jigsaw for Wicklow now, but it started as conversations, it started as bringing people together around the table, teasing things out, having hard conversations, and really working towards something. And maybe not at the beginning not knowing what that was, but just knowing that the need had been voiced by the right group and keeping the lived experience as part of that along the way.
The community in Bray wasn't just saying we want a Jigsaw service, but they were actually actively involved in promoting and supporting the mental health of young people. And I suppose eventually when the decision was made, that was a huge factor. The fact that the community was so united and so engaged in the mental health and well-being of young people. I think that was the soil in which the new Jigsaw service has been planted.